Hi, welcome to the abrasive training here hosted by St. Cobain. My name is Matthew Rittman. I'm the Thin Wheel Product Manager here in Pacific, and along with me today is my colleague Paul Bettino, who is the Application Engineer for Thin Wheels. The object of today is to show you the main abrasives used in mild steel welding and fabrication. What we're covering off today are cutting, weld preparation, and grinding. Sorry about that. We'd like to have a little bit of housekeeping, I guess. Once we get through into the applications, there will be a lot of noise in the grinding, so just be aware that if you're listening on headsets, that'll be quite loud. And also, if you can tap the button and give us a bit of a like, give us a bit of a follow. We'd like to get the big fella here global and trending so we can rival some of those Kardashian characters. But it'll be good to see you on board and enjoy some of the content that we'll have coming up shortly. So now we'll move over to Paul, who will start covering off the cutting application. We'll move through some safety stuff first.
Morning all, and welcome to the Centre of Excellence in Campbellfield, Melbourne, Victoria, where our factory's based. First of all, what I'll be showing you first is our 5-inch Megaline wheel, proudly made here on the site we're standing on at the moment. First things first, mounting is a safety feature. As you can see, I've got all my PPE gear on. To mount the wheel, that's the wheel. Now, you'll get asked, does it matter which way you mount it? No, it doesn't. Preferably, I prefer to mount it that way down. So, you got your spigot on your bottom flange, locate it on, tighten it up, only hand tight. Then you've got your lock on your grinder, lock it on. Now with your guards are very important on where you position them. So for cutting, position it so the guard is between you and the wheel, as you can see there. It's then we switch the power on. One thing I like to do before I start cutting to make sure everything's fine is I like to start it away from myself and everyone else, so to make sure the wheel runs properly and is firmly tightened. So that's better. Firstly, what I'm going to cut is a piece of mild steel, which is 6mm thick, so we'll cut the mild steel. Then I'll go on to stainless, which is 6mm stainless 304. They're just you should be aware that this wheel is iron free and sulfur free. What that means is that won't contaminate your stainless steel. Now, stainless steel doesn't rust, it goes a yellowy colour. But if you cut mild steel first, you're going to contaminate the wheel, and you go to stainless steel, it's going to be contaminated. So what I'll do, so say if I'm using one wheel, I'll go to stainless steel first, 304 stainless, 6mm thick, we'll do a cut with that, and then we'll go on to the mild steel. Put all my PPE gear on, so my glasses, earplugs, and gloves. Now it may get a bit noisy now. I'm just about to switch on the dust extraction, so it'll get a bit noisy. Once I finish cutting, we'll switch it off. See, that cut through 6mm thick stainless, fairly easy. I didn't have to push it. There's no need to push the wheel, just let the weight of the grinder do all the work. So now we'll go on to mild steel, 6mm thick. Now once I've cut this material, I've contaminated the wheel, so I cannot go back to stainless, otherwise the stainless will be contaminated. Tighten it up. wheel is now contaminated, so if I go back to stainless, I'm going to contaminate the stainless, so it cannot be used for that purpose. Okay, next we'll go on to grinding. Matt will give you a brief rundown on what I'm going to do.
Hi team, so next we'll be featuring our 125 6.8mm grinding wheel. Pretty much a must-have in your metal fabrication toolbox. It's a very, very good wheel for all of your rough grinding applications. We say rough grinding because generally when using this wheel, finish is probably not high on the priority list, but using it with different sorts of pressure, you can achieve different sorts of results. Now, Paul will probably show you some light and heavy pressure, which will show you that you can remove different amounts of material at different times. Again, proudly made in Australia. So again, this is one we make here on site. So one of the things with this wheel in particular is it produces a long life. So it's one of our most popular selling wheels as well. So along with the ultra thin, it'd be a must-have for your metal fabrication toolbox.
Once again, safely mounting the wheel, so that's our grinding disc. It can only be mounted the face up. So you've got your locator located on your flange. You use the spigot side, screw that on. Once again, no need to over tighten it, just hand tight's enough. Guard again, very important when grinding. So you're actually grinding in that position at your 30-degree angle. Your guard again is between myself and the wheel. So that's locked in place. I'll do the safety start again. So that's all good to go. I've let it go up to speed. Very important when you're grinding that you use the 30-degree angle and not flat, because if you use the wheel flat, you will unbalance the wheel. So 30 degrees and nice and comfortable. So position yourself. We've got mild steel with welds on it, as you can see. So position yourself in the right, so you're comfortable. Turn the machine on. And the wheel is starting to wear properly, as it should, because of that 30-degree angle that I was talking about. As you can see, I have not used it flat, so that is a fairly good finish. Now you can get a better finish by using a flat disc. You can use a flat disc to remove the weld as well, depending on how bad the weld is. And you can also use a fibre disc, which will run through that. So what I'll do now is I'll swap over to a zirconia flat disc, and I'll just hand you over to Matt, and Matt can tell you a little bit about the flat disc.
So this is the disc Paul's going to be using next. So in opposed to the heavy grinding, you can remove large amounts of material, but it's going to take you a little longer than the actual grinding abrasive wheel. So probably a little bit more comfortable to use than your grinding wheel. It's a little bit lighter, a little bit more finesse, so you can get in a little bit more accurate in your grinding. It does conform a little bit to the material as well. So, and being the different grit sizes, up to a finer grit size, you can get a better finish than you will with a standard grinding wheel. So
So this is a 40 grit zirconia. If you're not aware of it, zirconia is a much sharper grain, much more aggressive than our standard aluminium ox. Mounting again, same thing, make sure your grinder's turned off, locate it on the spigot, put your flange nut on, tighten it up just hand tight. Again, the guard's at the back between myself and the grinder. So I'll do a safety start to start with. Good to go. We've got the same piece of mould steel. What I'll do is I'll start on different welds over here just to show you. Remove the weld, and you can see the difference between the grinding disc and the flap disc. You can see the finish is totally different from the grinding disc to the flap disc. Even though it took me a bit longer, it's a lot smoother finish, as you can see, but still remove the weld fairly good. Okay, so what I'll do now is we'll use a Blaze X fibre disc, so I'll hand you over to Matt, and Matt can explain to you about fibre disc.
So we've gone through cutting and rough grinding there with the ultra thin and the grinding wheel. Then we moved on to the flap disc, which, as you saw, gave it a little bit of a better finish. Now we're going to come back to a new product that we have, which is the Blaze X. Very, very similar looking to our product called Blaze, but the Blaze X in particular is for mild steel only. So what it does is it's very, very thin. So it's used with a backing pad, which Paul will show you how that's mounted shortly. But it's a really cost-effective way of getting a high material removal rate. It's very, very cool when it's grinding, so it doesn't generate a lot of heat, so you won't blue the steel, which can cause to reworks and things like that. It's very, very fast in a material removal rate, which you'll see shortly once Paul starts, that it does remove material very, very fast. So Paul will now, oh, there you go, Paul.
Thank you, Matt. First of all, you'll notice I'm using a backing pad. Now this is what we call a turbo backing pad. As you can see, it's got ribs on it, where most of your backing pads are flat. With the ribs, it creates air underneath the disc, which keeps it cooler, so it's cooler running when you're doing the material. So simply put your backing pad on, then your disc, and this is a 40 grit Blaze X disc. Tighten it up. Once again, there's no need to over tighten it. As I've said, again, the guard is in the correct position between myself and the workpiece. Switch your power on, do a safe start. All good to go. So what we'll do is we'll take off some more welds. There's our Blaze X. As you can see, probably not as smooth as the flat disc. It's still very aggressive, but smoother than your grinding disc. So you've got your grinding disc, flat disc, Lazex, which is specifically for mild steel. Okay, and as you can see, there's very little wear on the disc. So that's your three weld grinding applications that we can use. The next one we'll go to is weld prep. I'll hand you over to Matthew, and Matthew can explain it to you.
Hi once again. So the next one we'll be demonstrating is our product called Rapid Strip. So if you haven't seen a Rapid Strip before, on this side here, looks a bit like a seaweed style or something, sort of the description. So, but it's nylon coated in aluminium oxide. So there's some other bonding agents, some resins and bits and pieces in there that help keep it together. It's very, very good at conforming to the workpiece. So great for removing rust. And as you'll see in a minute, when Paul starts cleaning up some of those areas he's ground just before, you can get a very good finish using this product. So once again, that's the Rapid Strip there. We'll have a very, very similar mounting procedure, which Paul will cover off now.
Once again, you've got the 5-inch Rapid Strip. Again, with your grinder switched off, locate, flange nut, tighten it up, safe start. It's just a few sparks from the build up of this wall. What I'll use this time, I have a very rusty piece of steel, as you can see. So this is also good for removing paint off steel. There, it's removed all the scale. Yeah, you can see the difference. What I'll actually do while you're there close in, I'll also show you what it looks like clean for finishing off welds and so on. As you can see, it's removed. While I'm here, I'll just show you removing the paint. So there's a piece of square tubing with paint on it. This is also in preparation for welding and making. So I'll now hand you over to Matt.
So there we covered off basically the three applications with the cutting, grinding and weld preparation. As you can see, the varying finishes with the different materials. With grinding, we're using the abrasive grinding mill, and then the flat disc, then the non-woven and the fibre disc as well. So varying levels of
material removal and finishes, but just, shows that we have the entire Abrasive package solution for all of your needs.
So that concludes our training on cutting, grinding and weld preparation for mild steel. We have had a couple of questions from a couple of viewers, which are...
Got a question from Jody. Why should you let the wheel get up to speed before you use it?
Thanks for your question, Jody. Once I've mounted the wheel, I bring it up to speed to make sure that I've mounted it correctly and there's no issues with the wheel. So it's a safety feature that I add in where I bring it up to speed to make sure everything's fastened correctly. Hope that answers your question.
Awesome, thanks. Another question from Paul. Is there a trade-off of durability versus material removal rate on Blaze X?
It's okay, I can handle that one. So with the abrasives using on an angle grinder, obviously you want to let the abrasive do the work because it's basically the power behind the machine. Now, if you do use it heavily, you'll get a higher material removal rate, but the trade-off of that is always lower life. So you can get the material like a Blaze X to remove material quite quickly, but at the end of the day, your trade-off will be a lower life. So the best way to use the material is to use the work, not press too hard, and let the abrasive do the work for you.
Cool.
So that sounds like that's it. So thanks again for viewing. Please make sure you give us a like and a follow. Turn on those notifications because our next session will be on stainless steel where we introduce a lot more coated products like Blaze X.